Hi, my name's Ben. I work for the Game House, and today we're giving the AFC North teams their first quarter report cards, starting with the Cincinnati Bengals, since that's probably the most interesting one. The Bengals are now 1-3. Joe Burrow is injured. The defense hasn't been playing that well. The offense is in total shambles, so let's just dive into the scores and look at it. The Bengals lost their first game of the season 24-3 at the Browns. The Bengals never really seemed to play the Browns well, especially in Cleveland, so shouldn't be too shocking, but the score is not great. Lost to the Ravens at home 27-24, at least it was close. Beat the Rams 16-19 without, again, the offense playing extremely well, Joe Burrow not playing great. And then lost to the Titans 27-3, who themselves had just only scored 3 points in a loss in the previous week. I think you have to give the Bengals a D, close to a D-, maybe even an F, because not just because we know Joe Burrow is hurt, but the way they've been utilizing him, the way he's been playing through the injury only to make it worse, maybe, and to lose all of these games is really not the move, because I think they could have gone 1-3 with their backup. If they could have just sat Joe Burrow all the way through the bye week, which is coming up here in a few weeks, I think they could have gone 1-3 and salvaged the season with a totally healthy Joe Burrow. Instead, they have Joe Burrow playing on an extremely sore calf, and they're still 1-3. Jamar Chase has seemed upset. A lot of people are upset with the play calling. They've lost 2 divisional games already, 1 at home, so this isn't a great look. I think you have to give the Bengals a D. Obviously, they could turn it around. They started 0-2 last year and made the AFC Championship game for the second year in a row, but the first quarter looked really, really bleak. Moving on to the Steelers. Opening week, huge loss to the 49ers, who have looked great, 30-7. Barely beat the Browns 26-22 after scoring 2 defensive touchdowns. They did win, but not a great look there. Barely beat the Raiders 23-18 after a very, very confusing Josh McDaniels decision to kick a field goal in the waning moments. And then a 30-6 huge loss, even bigger than the loss to the 49ers against the Texans. And CJ Stroud had been playing really, really well. The Texans weren't a team that a lot of people expected to be very good. I think you also have to give the Steelers a D. Yes, they do have 2 wins, but the 2 wins were not great. Those games were given to them by the other teams, especially the Browns game, in which Nick Chubb went out for the entire season. The offense has looked awful. Kenny Pickett is now banged up. They can't get anything going on the ground. The defense is super, super turnover reliant. TJ Watt's still good, obviously. Alex Highsmith has been playing very well, but this defense is extremely turnover reliant, so if you play a team that's safe with the ball, they're not going to win many games. So it's a very, very worrying scene despite being 2-2 and in second place in the AFC North. Cleveland Browns have played 3 divisional games already, 24-3 over the Bengals. Like I said, they always sort of own the Bengals, and Joe Burrow coming off of a bad calf injury. That loss to the Steelers, which you can't really blame them for other than Deshaun Watson's really poor play in that game. Absolutely destroyed the Titans 27-3, the same score that the Bengals lost to that same team. A huge loss 28-3 against the Ravens. So very up and down season, as you can see. I think you have to give them a C to a C+. They are 2-2. But really, really strange wins, really, really strange losses. 2 losses in division, 1 win in the division, but they're almost through their division schedule already just in week 4. So, strange team. We're going to have to see how this goes. I think the brightest spot has obviously been the defense. And then finally, the Baltimore Ravens, who beat the Texans 25-9. I know that looks like a gaudy score, but Lamar Jackson played very badly in that game. If you have Lamar Jackson in fantasy, you know what I mean. Beat the Bengals 27-24, gutted out a great divisional win on the road. That has to be huge, no matter if you win by 1 or if you win by 20. Lost to the Colts, which was another very interesting game. They played okay in that game, but still not fantastic. Obviously, they lost. And then beat the Browns 28-3, again, a divisional game on the road. So they're halfway through their divisional schedule, and all of their divisional games on the road are done after next week. They play the Steelers on the road next week, and then they're done with the divisional games on the road. That is absolutely huge. And coming out of the first 3 weeks, 3-1, I think you have to be pretty proud of that. Strange loss to the Colts. Good teams lose to bad teams sometimes. I'm leaning towards an A- to a B+ here for the Ravens. I think there's a lot to be excited about. I think they might have a stranglehold on the division if they beat the Steelers here coming up. So that's the AFC North. Let me know what grades you would give these teams down below. Stay tuned for the rest of these report cards coming out before Week 5 kicks off on Thursday night, and thanks for watching. I appreciate it.